Good morning and welcome. It's the Patriot Radio News Hour on a Tuesday. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. Kind of a somber morning for us here at the Patriot Trading Group. We lost really a family member today. A long time client passed away. I guess it was a couple of days ago now. And anyway, tough one.
It really is, because he was one of my first clients.
Wow.
20 years ago.
Man.
And
that's how long you've been here. You've been here way longer than me.
Way too long. And it really is sad because he only bought from us. He never went to any other company.
You know, that's the thing, though. A lot of our customers, you know, because let's face it, this in this new era of online stuff, you can always find somebody that's going to sell it to you for a few bucks less.
Right.
You know, we've always prided ourselves. Listen, we've never, you know, we're not the cheapest person out there. There's, like I said, there's always going to be somebody, but we're right next to it, and we've always been. You know what? Where we've never been, right? We're never been the rip-off people, right? We just treat you honestly and fairly. Everybody knows. Listen, when you call us, you're going to be treated with respect. You're going to be treated honestly. You're going to get a fair price. We're going to make a few dollars.
Right.
What we're not going to do is take, 30, 40, 50, 20, 15% of your money. We don't do that. You know, almost all of our stuff, pretty much all of it, is single digits. You know, you're talking about really small premiums, and really this company has been around for this long because of guys like that, where they knew, hey, listen, you're my guy. Right. You're going to treat me right. You're going to treat me fair.
Right.
And he did business with us. Man, I did not realize I still, you know what's so funny is I still remember Joe, and Joe, if you're listening, you know who I'm talking about, my first.
Right, yes.
You know?
Right.
And, man, that's amazing. That's a long time.
It is, and his family called me, and
they have a need, and we're going to try to help them out here today.
They need to liquidate.
And so we're working on the details right now, and I think after the break we'll give you a little time to get together here. After the break,
I need to figure this all out.
We're going to do something that we've never done. I'll tell you that, because we really want to try to do right by them. It's a tough time, a tough one.
It is.
Man, that'd be.
It is. It's very sad, and it's very hard to lose someone like that.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so.
So I'm going to work on it.
We're going to work on it. We'll be back with it. Many thanks for our condolences. Obviously, just it is what it is. You know, speaking of it is what it is. Did you see? So the National Football League. Right, ratings are at new lows, and now Colin Kaepernick is suing the NFL and the owners for collusion. You know, and he's the one that started the kneeling at the national anthem. And here's the reality: you're not a quarterback in the NFL anymore because you're not any good. I mean, that's really the simple answer. And, of course, today everyone wants to sue. I don't know if you saw, too, like there's people in Las Vegas that are suing now, like the hotel and I don't know who else, like the concert people for the shooting there. And it just seems like, how did we get to this point? You know, and you think about all the things, and I'll say this about Kaepernick. I've yet to see him do anything of trying to bring people together, you know, taking disadvantaged youth and the police in a community or so. I mean, there's so many things that he could have been doing, but instead, let me file a lawsuit. And it just seems like this is kind of, I don't know but how America gets things done anymore. Everybody feels so entitled Well, I'm entitled. I can do what I want, say what I want, do what I want, and I don't want any repercussions. And if something happens that I don't like, I'm just going to sue somebody. And you wonder why we're in the mess that we're in. I saw it and I almost laughed because I'm just, the answer really was, so you're bad. Quit throwing the ball to the other team, and maybe you can still be here. And then, and I guess people say, well, he's better than some of these backups. Yeah, you're right. Probably is better than some of them. But they don't kneel at the national anthem, so what are you going to do? Anyway, I don't know what that has to do with gold. Absolutely nothing. We had a lot of things that we're going to talk about. One of the things that we haven't talked about, we talk about all of the financial reasons why you need to have wealth insurance, why everyone needs to have some gold in their portfolio. You just do. Really, probably, and some silver too. And I'm less of a silver guy than some, but you got to have it. And we give all the we talk about debts and we talk about the trajectory of all of our unfunded liabilities and why it is that the economy is so stagnant and what the next the big part of the bubble is just starting. I was talking about the debt bubble because the bills are starting to come due now, and over the next 10 years they really come due. But what we haven't talked about is what about the miners themselves? How much gold is out there, and are they willing to go get it? Patriot Radio News Hour, kind of a somber Tuesday. We'll be back right after the break. Patriot Radio News Hour, 800-951-0592. Before we get to what we're going to try to do to help some people today, just a quick reminder. Some of you have been waiting on silver. That's on its way.
Yes, it is.
So before the end of the week, I think we'll be 100% caught up here in the next 48 hours. So if you've been waiting, I apologize for the delay, but it's all on its way. We were a little short. I thought we had enough, and then with the metals plan, we kind of...
And those are going out also.
Yeah, there's a few left that are being handled as well. Most of you probably already have them already. So, and kudos to you, Wendy. That was really a big effort.
It was for 2 days I sat there.
It's
counting down. Yeah.
Tough day.
It is. It's sad when you lose someone who, strangely enough, you never met.
And you know what the funny part is you're right. A lot of them, because we're in Arizona and they're they live other places but they listen every day when they call and order. Like I know they, for a lot of clients, hey, they only want to talk to Wendy. And I'll be like, what about me? Like I'll even sometimes they'll call and Wendy's not here, right? Especially now, as
right.
Now you only work a couple of days a week.
I work a couple of days a week, and it's funny because actually I had one client ask for my phone number while I was not working, and Arlene called me and said, can I give him? And I said yes, and I told him I only work 2 days a week, and he goes, well, I'm talking to you now. Right. So,
it's people. I'm like, I own the place. You sure you don't want to? They're like, no, I want to talk to Wendy. So,
it's okay.
But again, another thing that makes us different than a lot of these other people is how we how we treat people, and we care. They care about us. We care about them. And we kind of feel like we're all in this together. And we talk about it here all the time about, we've been on the air for over 20 years because you allow us to. Because when you order from, that's how we pay for everything. Right? We don't have sponsors or, the radio, the networks, they don't let us on for free out of the kindness of their hearts, right? We're not Rush Limbaugh or any of these, radio personalities that do 3 and 4 hours worth of radio and do all. We're all self-funded, and that really comes from our customers and something that we've done it differently than everybody says you should. We don't take your phone number. We don't call anybody. I think we've done, let's see, I've been here 14 years. And how many times have we even mailed something?
Not
twice?
Twice. I think twice.
Twice, maybe. We've sent out
we did a mailer.
A mailer, right? I think we've done it twice, maybe 3 times in 14 years. So, let's just say about once every 5 years, we may send you something in the mail.
Right.
But other than that, it's all kind of on, hey, when you're ready to do business, call us.
And we'll help you.
And we'll help you. And today it's kind of in a different way. So they need to raise some money. They've got to pay for, they've got expenses that need to be paid and whatnot. And I mean, what do we have? What are we doing? I left this all up to Wendy.
Right.
This is.
I'm doing this for them. I'm doing this for you, for our clients. And I've got 30.
Okay.
Liberties.
The Liberties. Okay, so these are the $20 Liberties. And right now, and obviously, listen, premiums are soft. They're down. They've been way down. And we've been as low as spot.
And I'm going under spot.
You're going to go under spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So spot is $1,283.50.
Okay. 30 of these. Take 1, take 5, take them all. Because I'm so sad. $1,280.
$12.80. You know what? First time ever. U.S. $20 Liberties.
Under spot.
$3 right now. $3.50 under spot. We don't have very many, but and this is really because here's the realities. They have to liquidate. If we don't sell them, then we've got to dump them onto the wholesale market, and they're going to get less than that. So we're trying to help them out, and again, I guess pass that along to everybody else. So $12.80 is the number. At 800-951-0592. And, part of the Patriot family, and we like to keep it in the family. Eric always used to say, we like to put it back where we found it, and we're kind of trying to do something just like that here today. U.S. $20 Liberties at $1,280 at 800-951-0592. Now, yesterday, gold was $1,300 plus bucks yesterday. Right. And this week, Donald Trump is interviewing people for the Federal Reserve Chairman's job. Right? We've watched this. They did the Kevin Warsh thing. Oh, he's the favorite. I said, there's no way that guy's getting the job. And then, of course, Jerome Powell, who I said is my favorite to get the job. Yesterday, John Taylor, and for those of you, and I know a lot of you don't know this, but it doesn't matter. He's not getting the job either. But, the president liked him. Well, I'm sure he's a nice guy. John Taylor is an academic, Stanford guy. He's been mentioned as a Fed chairman when Alan Greenspan was going to retire, again when Bernanke was retiring, and now possibly he's not getting the job either. But they like I said, this is the days. Here's what has happened in at least in the gold market. They like to pretend that this has relevance. It doesn't. None of this has relevance. He's not getting the job. Even if he got the job, it wouldn't matter. But the thing that is happening that's kind of added to some selling pressure, he's talking to Janet Yellen on Thursday, and that's his last interview. And right now they're saying that there's 4 people in the running for the Fed chairman. Janet Yellen's term ends at the end of February. It's either her again, which I didn't think was a choice, but maybe it is. So she's I would have assumed if she didn't want to be it, she wouldn't have taken the meeting. They're going to meet Thursday. You had John Taylor, who is another academic. He interviewed, I guess it was yesterday morning, maybe it was over the weekend, but it came out yesterday. Oh, the president, he likes to have, what's not to like? They're just coming in, they're going to have a little chat and blah, blah, blah. He's not going to say bad things. Then you have Jerome Powell, and then you have Kevin Warsh. Now, of all four of these candidates, they like to say who's dovish and who isn't dovish, and Kevin Warsh is the one that would be the least likely. Remember, he was the odds-on favorite 2 weeks ago, right? The big reason for the gold sell-off was because of him. Now the odds maker have him last, which is what I told you, several weeks ago. Right now, Jerome Powell, and I don't know who makes these. You may even be able to bet on it in Vegas. Could you imagine, right? You go to the sports book. Hey, you want to bet the NFL game? No, I don't want to bet the NFL game. I want to bet on the next Federal Reserve chairman. You may be able to do it. I think it's a two-person race. I think it's either going to be Powell or Janet Yellen. One or the other. Both of them are, I guess, the least hawkish of the four candidates. And again, now someone threw out I think it was Gundelis threw out Neil Kashkari, who would be a super dove. But as far as I know, he's not even going to get an interview. I don't know that to be true. But anyway, Janet Yellen is going to speak to the president on Thursday. And then I think we'll have an announcement following, within the next week or maybe two. I don't know if that and if it goes longer than that, then it means, my guess would mean he still hasn't found what he is looking for. But earlier in the show, we talked about, we know all the reasons why, right? We look at the Federal Reserve, this little who's going to be the next Fed chairman, and they like to, and I said I don't want to call it fake news, but they're almost like they're forcing all of us to try to believe that this has relevance. It really doesn't. You know what? Quite honestly, it doesn't matter who he picks. And I mean that not in a bad way or a good way, but I mean it in a matter-of-fact way. It doesn't matter. We've already lost. And see, and that's the hard part. They don't want to say it, but they threw everything they ever learned about fundamental economic principle out the window. They did. Negative interest rates is not solid fundamental economic principles. Having the Fed's funds rate at zero for, 8 or 9 years is not solid. Even having it now, it's still only at 1. Well, between 1 and 1.25, right? And maybe we'll get a quarter point in December, maybe. Quantitative easing and having a balance sheet with trillions and trillions of dollars isn't solid economic principles. The funny part is the thing that they don't like about Kevin Warsh and Taylor is those two guys weren't, and I don't know about Taylor. I know Warsh for sure. Taylor maybe. They didn't want those things, right? They thought it was a bad idea. And, of course, really what they thought was, hey, well, economic principle, that doesn't really apply. See, so we've already lost. Like I said, I always use they wet the bed and they covered up with newspaper. The problem is all of the same things that are working against us are still happening. So when you think about the debt, now the debt, think about this really. What was it, 15, 16 years ago? There was only $5 trillion. We're at 20, closing in on 20 and a half, almost $21 trillion. And even with the most rosy economic outcome, 4% GDP growth for the next 10 years, and it would still be $30 trillion. Right? So we've given you that side of things. You know that. You know we've lost. You know. I know it. You know it. The Federal Reserve, they know. Listen, Federal Reserve notes were never meant to last forever. That's not what fiat money does. But today we're going to talk about the other side. Right? Because, when you talk about gold, right, there's, you go back to Economics 101, the supply and the demand. So there's a big interview about what's happening in gold right now. And they said they're talking about demand for paper gold versus physical gold and what's happening with the refineries in Switzerland and all over the world. And then they talk about the supply side. What's going on in the mining industry? We're going to talk about what they say, not only what's happening today, but what are the prospects for gold, at least as far as gold production out of mine over, say, the next 5 and 10 years. Patriot Radio News Hour.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily broadcast from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, a national volunteer organization founded by Phyllis Schlafly and continuing to uphold her legacy by honoring family values, opposing radical feminism, and representing a conservative perspective in our nation's capital. Now from the Phyllis Schlafly Center studios, here's Ryan Haidt.
The world's fastest human, Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt, retired last July from the sport of track and field. He won multiple gold medals in 3 consecutive Olympic Games, setting world records in both the 100-meter and 200-meter events. Like most Jamaicans and most sprinters, Usain Bolt is of West African descent. No white or Asian man and no woman of any race is good enough to compete at his level. Is it fair that in more than 30 years no white man has won an Olympic medal in the 100-meter dash? In every Olympics since 1988, every finalist in the 100-meter dash has been a black male. Usain Bolt's amazing career provides a useful corrective to the politically correct assumption that all types of human activity must be diverse. Wherever competition determines the outcome, we see differences in human achievement. We can all work to improve our skills with the talents God gave us, but not everyone can excel at the highest level of competition. Talents are not equally distributed, and some human differences are too great to overcome, even with hard work. The same week that Usain Bolt retired, we learned that a woman dropped out of training to become a Navy SEAL. The unnamed female midshipman, can we still use that word, failed to complete the initial 3-week qualifying course, or pipeline, which is followed by 6 grueling months of training. No woman has ever been good enough to become a Navy SEAL. Among other things, you have to lift yourself from the ocean into a small boat, a feat that requires upper body strength that women in general just don't have. Phyllis Schlafly always reminded us that there were many different strengths, some that women often possess more than men. Phyllis had granddaughters who excel in math and engineering, including one who became an actuary and another who majored in mechanical engineering. But Phyllis Schlafly was always the first to point out that there are important differences between men and women and boys and girls, and it's harmful to pretend otherwise.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. You've seen the desperation of women's marches, the disgrace of Planned Parenthood, the rise of savvy young conservative women. Radical feminism is heading down a dead-end road. Voice your opinion on what's really important to women at phyllisschlafly.com. That's phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
Welcome back, Patriot Radio News Hour. somber day here, passing in the Patriot family. Wendy's first big customer passed away today. They need to raise some money. I know they got to do a bunch of repairs to the house to get it ready to sell, and we're trying to help them out. We're down to 23 $20 gold pieces, 1,280, which now is $4.10 below spot. So U.S. $20 liberties. Like I said, we're just trying to put it back where we found it. It's a great opportunity for you, and plus it's going to help the family and help them as well. 800-951-0592, U.S. $20 liberties. There's started with 30. There's 23 remaining. There's a couple lines open at $1,280 at 800-951-0592. I know at least for me, and Wendy's is the same. We don't think we've ever had 20s below spot before, so first time for everything. We were talking before the break about, what about the production side? How much gold is left out there? Production is declining, and it's going to put an enormous amount of pressure on prices over the next 10 years. If you look back to the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, okay, so those decades, in every one of those decades, the mining industry found at least one 50 million ounce gold deposit, at least 10 30 million ounce deposits, and they said it was just too many to count of how many 5 and 10 million ounce deposits. Every decade, so if we take the decade of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, at least 150 million ounce plus 10, 30 million plus ounce deposits, countless 5 to 10 million. But when you look at the last 15 years, and you think about the time it takes to get a mine online, it takes about this long. So if you had discovered a deposit 15 years ago, you would hopefully be mining it within 10 to 15 years. So these are over the last 15 years. These are mines that we would be expecting have just come online or getting ready to come online, getting ready to go into production. And like I said, probably several of them have gotten to that point where they've hit the production level. So when you look at what they found, here's how it breaks down. No 50 million ounce deposits, none. No 30 million ounce deposits. A very, very few 15 million ounce deposits. So you think about every decade up until the last 15 years, you found a 50 million ounce deposit, 10, 30 million ounce deposits, countless 5, 10 million ounce deposits. You fast forward to today, no 50 million, no 30 million, a few 15 million ounce. So where are those great big deposits we found in the past? How are they going to be replaced? What the industry has not done anywhere near enough is to put money into exploration. Well, here's the reason. It comes to a point of, number one, you got to find a deposit big enough. Most most of the deposits that they find aren't that big, and even when they find them, right, they're in places so remote. Right? There's no power, there's no roads, heck, there's no workers. And they talk about, what it's going to take. And they said that as an industry as a whole, there are no new significant mines expected to be coming online over the next 10 years. And they said whether that's a result of the miners not spending enough on finding new mines, or the fact of the matter may be, hey, they've looked, and there's just not that many out there. And then you look at, obviously, like anything else, is there gold out there that's mineable at maybe $2,000 or $3,000 an ounce? I think a lot of us would assume probably. Right, maybe at those prices, I could go into the middle of nowhere, right, and put in roads and put in power and bring workers in and bring in the heavy machinery and the trucks and all of that and pay for all the fuel and all of the refining costs. But when they break it down, they expect the mine gold supply to contract every single year now. And really, it's actually detracted here for 2 years. So 16 was down from 15, 17 is going to be down from 16, and now they're saying for the next 10 straight years. So you look at, we got two big forces at work. We got the debt bubble, right, where all of these bills that we've been, they use the kick the can down the road part, right? Well, we got down the road. Now the road's end. It's a dead end, right? There's a big cliff there, right? Can't kick the can anymore. And at the same time, you're going to have mining supply falling every single year. So what does that mean? I mean, to me, economics 101, pretty bullish case when you're looking at where gold's headed. And like I said, it really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's Janet Yellen or Jerome Powell. It doesn't. Doesn't matter if they raise interest rates to 1.25%. No. I mean, they've already been on record, every single person in the Federal Reserve, well, we're not going to go above 2. Somehow they just want to get to this 2 number. Right, 2 must be the lucky number. They want inflation to be 2. They want Fed funds rate to be 2, right? Because somehow that's going to save us. It's not. U.S. $20 Liberties below spot at 800-951-0592. 800-951-0592. Wendy just got off the phone. We still have 16 or 17 U.S. $20 Liberties, now $5 below spot. So when Wendy first asked me, it was right as I was we were getting ready to go on the air, and I'm like, man, I can't think about it. Let me get through the first part, and it was about $2 over spot. Then it was 3. Then after the first commercial, it was 4. Now after this commercial, it's $5 under spot. But we don't have any more than we can't replace them at that price. And we're trying to do a good thing, too. So that always makes it even better. 800-951-0592. These are the pre-1933 Liberties. You think about it, every one of them is over 100 years old. Matter of fact, the youngest, the baby of the family, 110 years old. Right? The last time they minted a $20 lib, 1907. They are considered a collectible, which in our eyes is a good thing because it does, with gold. If there's a gold confiscation act, you have the opportunity. You may be able to keep them. Maybe we don't know. You were the last time, right? The only gold you could keep were coins that the government considered to be a collectible. U.S. $20 Liberties at $1,280 today. kind of like I said, a somber day for us. But at the same time, you got to celebrate life and the life that you lead and who you affected. And he obviously, he affected us greatly, and Wendy especially, and our condolences to the family. North Korea, man, they just laid it out today, and it really just makes sense. They reaffirmed their commitment to developing a long-range intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching all the way to the east coast of the United States. On Monday, they told CNN that the nation is currently not interested in diplomacy with the United States until it reaches this goal. And this kind of tells you two things, right? We heard from Tillerson that, hey, we are trying to negotiate and that we'll negotiate with North Korea till the first missile launches. By the way, I don't know if you saw that this weekend. North Korea said, before we engage in diplomacy with the Trump administration, we want to send a clear message that the DPRK, because that's their army or what have you, has a reliable defense and offensive capability to counter any aggression from the United States. And they believe, obviously, they are very, very close. And before they enter into any negotiation, right, this makes sense. Hey, we want to make sure we can hit you anywhere, and now we're going to get a better deal. And then, of course, if you allow that to happen, then what? And that's really been the issue. And North Korea, at least yesterday, telling CNN that they will not negotiate with the Trump administration until they've reached that goal. And we're kind of saying, hey, we're not going to allow you to. And you kind of think about what, and I don't know. I just have this feeling, right? And you get that bad feeling, that pit in your stomach. And I think about, and I've been kind of saying to everybody, this is like 2001 again, right? 2001, they were getting ready to drop interest rates. We had entered into this little recession. Alan Greenspan was lowering rates. Remember, they went all the way down to 1%. Remember, and that's this is how little they know. They blame that for the housing thing, by the way, as well, because he left them there for almost a year. But the gold market was kind of floundering, right? Eric, the business was slow, and, of course, it turned out to be the best buying opportunity ever. And 9/11 happened. And gold went from, 250. We know the story, right? And then, of course, the United States entered into this really difficult period. We had the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. All of a sudden, all the deficits started to implode and all of these things. And I just got this feeling history is getting ready to repeat itself. And then I think, I go back to all the way back to World War II and the Great Depression, right? Again, the central bank never got out of that one. And here's the funny thing is when you really look at it, they really haven't been able to solve any problem. They got out of the Great Depression, right? The Federal Reserve multiple times said they fixed it. They fixed it when they confiscated gold. Then they fixed it again in 1937, only to find out they hadn't fixed anything. And really it took World War II to really get us out. Could we be looking at World War III? I don't know. How about this, though? The Trump administration attempts to ram through a sweeping NAFTA renegotiation hit its first major roadblock. I bet it did, right? Because let's face it, that was a bad deal. the top trade negotiators from Canada and Mexico, who will meet today with the U.S. trade representatives, has already firmly rejected the U.S. proposals floated by the current round of the NAFTA negotiations. You know what? That's a good starting place. Right? If they don't like it, that's probably a lot closer to what the deal should be. But I just thought that was just hitting the tape. Canada and Mexico said they will not walk away from the negotiation table altogether, but they will not agree to a renegotiation. I don't know. Sounds like they will. Final segment, Patriot Radio News Hour. U.S. $20 liberties. I'm shocked that they still got 15 left. Spot is $12.85.60. Didn't quite get to another dollar, but $12.85.60. So U.S. $20 Liberty gold pieces, $5.60 under spot at $1,280. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. And I'm just checking on something here. What am I looking for there? No, she didn't write it down, so I don't know the answer. U.S. $20 liberties, today and today only, $1,280, $5.60 below spot at 800-951-0592. We talked about North Korea, so I guess they've given the answer that I wonder how close they are. I mean, are they a couple of months away, a couple of weeks away? Are they a year away? Said no more negotiation with the United States until after they've, perfected the intercontinental ballistic missile that will reach all the way to the East Coast. Mexico and Canada have come out and said we are rejecting the Trump administration's trade proposal for a renegotiation of NAFTA. That probably ought to tell you that it was a bad deal to begin with. Right? Hey, why would we get rid of a really good deal? I don't blame them. If I was Mexico or Canada, I'd probably say the same thing as well. You know what? I thought about it. And, we're going to pass. Right, we'll get back to you. Hey, we'll get back to you later. Maybe we'll help you out down the road. But nonetheless, something to watch for, because obviously any form of a renegotiation of NAFTA could at least try to help us lower the trade deficit a little bit. I don't know how much it could do, but it can't hurt. You think about, that's another thing, we don't talk enough about. Right? $700 billion every year leaves the United States. And you think about it, it's been doing this now since the 70s. Every year. Right? It wasn't $700 billion in the 70s, but we haven't run a trade surplus since the 70s. Not one. Not even on accident. And now the number, it's so far out of reach, I don't even know how you get there. And really, when you start really thinking about what it really means, that's wealth leaving the country. And listen, they count everything, right? Every Chinese person that comes over and buys a house, they count that. Right? Now, every dollar that leaves versus every dollar that comes in. If we're losing any, pick a number, $500, $600, $700 billion a year of wealth every single year, eventually what happens? Eventually you run out of wealth. If you never want to run out of wealth, call the Patriot Trading Group, 800-951-0592. U.S. 20s, 560 below spot at 1280.